Hi everyone and welcome back. In this video we will hopefully get my truck here to pass through inspection. We started working on it last week, but I got hung up on some parts. But now I have the stuff I need. I have the shock mount on the frame so that we can get the shock back on. And also we have the new drive shafts so that I can get this fixed because it is really bad and it's spraying grease in the wheel well and stuff like that. So I could have gone ahead and just changed the rubber boot, but it's the same amount of work to change the rear axle as changing the boot. And since it's been going without grease for a while, I think it's probably worth replacing. I would assume it's the truck's original drive shaft. So yeah, I'm changing both sides while we're at it. So yeah, we're gonna do that also. But we have some other small stuff we're gonna fix also. But I'm gonna start with the shock mount. Got the new shock mount in place, and if you're thinking that I'm shipping out and not buying new shocks, that's because these are, I'm not gonna say they're basically brand new, but I only been driving with these for 2 years, and unfortunately due to the salt here in Sweden, they have rusted totally, but they work fine. They haven't been driven many miles, so they are good, but they look like crap, so that's why. So yeah, we're done with that. So now I think I'm gonna go ahead and replace the output shaft seal here. So I got the drive shaft out, and here's something I've been thinking about. This is leaking a lot, and I don't think there's supposed to be this much oil at the tail shaft or at this level. I mean, the fill plug is there. I mean, it's below the output shaft. So I have a theory that I don't know if this is possible, but I know that I saw that this was leaking, so I was going to check the fluid like a few months ago, and it was overfilled. So I don't think there's supposed to be oil pushing on this output shaft seal. So I think that the oil from the transmission somehow finds its way over to the transfer case and overfills it, and when it overfills, this starts to leak. I mean, this is probably old and leaks, but I think that is causing some problem because you can see how much we have lost here. So we're gonna check into that. So I've loosened the plug here, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove it, and we'll see if oil comes out. And I mean, if this were filled to the correct level and it's obviously been leaking, we shouldn't see any leak from this plug when we remove it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So this is obviously very overfilled. So I'm gonna do some research, but I can't see how you would possibly get that much oil in. And yeah, so I'm thinking that somehow the transmission's fluid is finding its way over to the transfer case, but we'll look into it. I've been doing some research, and apparently this isn't that all too uncommon. And the thing is, just like we have an output shaft seal, we have an input shaft seal, and the input shaft seal is both to prevent the transfer case fluid from going to the transmission and from the transmission fluid to go to the transfer case. So obviously that is bad. So we're having transmission fluid leaking over to the transfer case. But of all things on a vehicle, or at least a vehicle like this, the transfer case doesn't really mind having too much oil. Is it perfect? No, but it doesn't really matter. So if what I'm going for is that I'm not going to change the input shaft seal. both because I don't think it's a big deal right now. It's nothing I would like to do. And also I mentioned in my last video that, or the last video of this truck, that I think the transmission is about to go out. We have some slipping between gears. So I probably have to pull the transmission soon enough anyway. And at that point I might as well change the input shaft seal. So with that said, for now, I'm going to just put now we have drained the overfilled part of the transfer case, so we can just put in the fill plug. And now that I know it, I can check it, take out the overfilled part of the transmission transfer case. If I want to be cheap, I can just pour it back in the transmission, but I probably will add new fresh oil instead. So yeah, with that said, I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to put in the new output shaft seal and keep an eye on the level from now on. So yeah, I'm gonna fix that, and then we can fix the front drive shafts. So I am going to go ahead and start removing the, I'm calling them drive shafts, but I'm thinking I'm going to call them CV axles. But anyway, since I want to make an effort to make this truck a little bit nicer every time I do something, now that I changed these, I'm going to go ahead and paint them. I already painted the rear drive shaft so that they hopefully can look a bit nicer for a few years anyway. So I'm going to go ahead, paint these and let them dry while we start removing them on the truck. So went ahead here and just pulled out the axle, or CV axle. And what I was going to say was that I ordered the right side I was going to change, and I thought I might as well change the driver's side. And then I realized that this side is even worse than the passenger side, because this has obviously been bad for so long that even if we had sprayed grease everywhere, this is just paint, this is not grease, it has already washed off in comparison to the other side where there's grease everywhere. So this has obviously been bad for a long time, and it's a bit, it has a bit of play in it. So really happy I bought both sides. And I thought this was going to be a bit of a pain. I thought I was going to have to loosen the spindle and flip it out so that we can get the CV axle out. But the only thing I had to do was I had to remove the rod for the torsion bar. And that was because it was just enough so that I didn't clear this and could take it down this way. But if I loosen it, I could remove it. And just an interesting thing, 2.5 years ago, I last inspected this, and I changed these 2.5 years ago. And you can see how dry rotted they are and rusty. And these are dry rotted. So 2.5 years. Yeah, that really sucks. Also, I saw one other interesting thing. You can see that these are the original drive CV axles for this truck. So that's amazing that these have held up for over 30 years. I do not think the new ones will do that, but that's the reality of aftermarket parts. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble the other side, and then we can start putting the new stuff in. So I got the CV axle out here, and wasn't any problem as long as I got the anti-roll bar out. So anyway, now I was thinking I can put the new stuff back, but I realized something. I put this down on the ground, and I saw that this didn't really match with the the CV axles that I have. So I went and looked, and as I thought, the other axles looks exactly like this. So they don't come with this, and I checked Rock Auto and everywhere, and I can't find these. And the problem is that this one is okay, decent, I mean we could work with it, but the driver's side is a lot worse. And this lip, that is a dust cover, just folded over. So the good thing is that the inner part here is okay. And I mean, if I don't have this, the diameter of this will be less, and it won't seal against the wheel seal in here, and we will have grease coming out. So that's not good. So I would have liked to get new, but I mean, I can't find them, which I can't understand why they wouldn't include them in the CV axle. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this lip back on and get rid of the the bad stuff. And we just have to live without the dust shield on one side. I mean, it's the wheel seal's job to keep the dirt out. So it is what it is, but I think it's going to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and go and pick up the new CV axles and see if I can install these. So I managed to get these on, and also got this on, and I mean, it won't be exactly as good as it was, or as this will be, but I don't believe it, though this is going to be a problem. The most important thing is we have the extra diameter here to seal against the inner wheel seal. So yeah, now I can put this in. I got the CV axle in, and it's so nice to put in stuff when you painted them. Unfortunately, that makes everything else looks even worse, but yeah, someday we're gonna fix this. But all of that are in, so now I'm gonna put on brakes, and I just want to show you a little tip here. Every time I have the opportunity to do this, when you're removing the wheel, when you have the caliper off and stuff like that, I try to lubricate in here with some anti-corrosive, something that lubricates, so that hopefully you don't have the piston seizing in the future. These calipers, believe it or not, are like 2 to 3 years old, but they still look like crap. But yeah, every time I have the possibility, I try to put something in them that will hopefully prevent from rust. So yeah, just gonna put a little bit of this in, try to move it to the sides, and hopefully we don't have to work with these in the future. We got everything all done here in the front, and I'm really happy that this went as smooth as it did. I was thinking we would have a lot more trouble with changing this, but it was really simple. So that is all done. I also put in the output shaft seal on the drive shaft and put the drive shaft in. So all of that is good. And just for a little comparison, this is all the oil that came out of the transfer case. And for those of you that don't already know, they take like 2 quart or something like that. But I think it's 2 quart. And I think this is like 3 quart maybe. So it was definitely more than double the capacity than it should be. So yeah, it's probably, I mean, it's well lubricated, but this isn't supposed to be like that. And I have been filling the transmission, but I thought it was just leaking, but obviously this is where it went. So yeah, we have to check that and empty it sometime here in the future. But anyway, I'm gonna put it down on the ground and put the wheels on, put it down on the ground, and then we can think about what we're gonna do next. So we have it down on the ground, and I'm actually really satisfied with our progress for today, because we have achieved all of the stuff that I wanted to do: the shock mount, the drive CV axles, and the output shaft seal. I mean, the output shaft seal, you can say what you want, but we have at least found the issue, and for now we can work around it by just emptying out the transfer case once in a while. So yeah, we'll have to fix that properly in the future. But I wasn't expecting to be able to fix all of this today. So it's almost 3 now, and tomorrow at 2 we have our time for inspection. So we have all the day tomorrow to work and do stuff. So tomorrow I'm going to change the bushings on the driver door, because it sags really bad and it's hard to close. And we might change the blower motor for the heater core, and maybe even the idle, I don't know, is it called an idle control valve? It has a very rough idle when this is cold, so I'm hoping that that will fix it. So yeah, we're gonna do some small stuff tomorrow and hopefully pass inspection. So I'll see you tomorrow. So I'm back, it's Friday, and today we're gonna do some small stuff to make the truck pass inspection. And last night I remembered 2 things that I need to do that will definitely be a problem. And the first thing is that my front license plate is pretty hard to read, and that won't pass. This license plate passed last year, but it was a little bit better, but not good by any means. So I removed some of this plastic, and I'm gonna fill in these with black and hope that they let it pass through. I have ordered a new plate, but obviously I don't get that today. So we'll see if they let it pass. So that we have to do. And besides that, this is one of those stupid Swedish ideas that causes a lot of problems. And that is, I have mentioned this before, but this is so stupid. But in Sweden, we don't think that the identification tag that you have up in the front windshield on later on this area of cars, older cars, you had them in the A pillar and stuff like that, but we don't believe that that is enough for some reason. So every truck and vehicle has to have a stamped number on the frame, or the VIN number. So it has to be stamped on a frame, so that in like identification problems, like if it was stolen, you can check the number. But I mean, it's pretty stupid when every truck that is in Sweden, this number has been stamped in afterwards by a person, not by GM. So nothing is doing that. I mean, you could stamp in whatever number you want. I could grind it off and stamp in a new number. Nothing, it doesn't help anything. The only thing, the problem is if you don't have it, or it's unreadable, or they can't find it, you won't pass inspection, and you have to register. You can get into a lot of registration problems. You have to prove that it is the vehicle, even though you have the original VIN tag in the windshield. So we have had a lot of vehicles, especially trucks, with this issue for a number that someone has stamped in afterwards. So it's a really stupid system, but we have to have it. Also, on some, you can check your vehicle information, and on some trucks they have written down where the number is located, like in the rear right wheel well, which I have, but there is no guidance on where they should be, which means that they can be anywhere, any wheel well, or some they are on the frame under the door, or I mean at the door on the frame. So you have to basically, if they haven't written in where it is, it could be basically anywhere. So yeah, it's a really stupid thing. But anyway, this is my number, or this truck's number, and as you can see, it's crooked and looks really bad. And as I said, in Sweden, this is the main identification number. The nice stamped piece of steel up in the windshield is not enough, and it's basically unused. So this is what identifies this truck. And I mean, we live in Sweden, we have a lot of rust, so they disappear. I have already fixed this once. So you can see here I've gone ahead and stamped in another time. After the D there's supposed to be a K that I can see the reassemblance of, but I don't think you can see. So I have to go ahead and smash in some new, or better them so that you can read them, so that we can pass inspection later today. So I'm gonna fix this. So here we have it. It's not beautiful, but it's readable. So that's good. And do you want to know the epitome of stupidity? That is, I mean, we already have this stupid system where we punch the VIN number into the frame, but this is so ridiculous and stupid that if you look up this vehicle in our Swedish database, they had a period of time, I'm not sure, but in the somewhere between in the 70s and the 90s, where they shortened the VIN number in the Swedish paperwork. So if you look this up in the paperwork for this vehicle, it has only 14 digits instead of the 17. So it's so important that we have this stamped number on the frame, and it doesn't even match the paperwork that's for the truck if you look it up. So it's so stupid that I can't even describe it, but it is what it is. So it has to match the one in the windshield, which I really doesn't need to have, because it's not the primary VIN number for us. It's the what we call the secondary VIN number, and the primary is here on the frame, and the primary or the secondary doesn't even match the paperwork because they have shortened out a few letters. So yeah, it's really stupid. But anyway, we're done with it. So now I'm gonna try and make the front license plate look a little bit more readable. So then go ahead, fill this, hope it passes inspection. I have a new plate on the way, but it would be nice to pass the inspection. But we'll see if they let it pass. It's not perfect, but yeah, it looks okay. It's not that obvious, and I might go ahead and go around another round and try to fill in a little more, but yeah, we'll see if it passes. But anyway, on to the next thing. So the next thing on the list is to fix this door, and it's really common on the GMT 400 platform that the door hinges start to sag, and these are really bad. So it's very annoying to close the door. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the bushings, and I have bought this cheap doorman kit, and I know that these are not very good. I know that these bushings are very fragile, and this is probably not gonna last that long. And I know that there's a company, I think they're called Cunningham Motors, that makes a better kit, or it is supposed to be better. I haven't tried it, but the thing is, a lot of times ordering stuff from smaller companies from Europe to America can be a bit of a hassle. Bigger companies like Summit Racing, Rockado, and such, they have a lot easier international shipping. So yeah, it is what it is. So I bought this cheap kit. I will probably end up changing this in that not too long distant future and buying the Cunningham stuff. But anyway, my idea now is that we're gonna take this outside. We're gonna take the forklift, and then we're gonna lower the window here, take a strap so that the door can hang from the forklift, because we need to loosen both hinges so we can change the bushings. And if we have it hanging on the forklift, we can just push it off a little bit. I don't want to disconnect all the electrical stuff, but just enough so you can change the bushings and then push it back. The alternative is doing it here in the garage with my floor jack, but then you have to balance the door, and yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So I think it will be very easy with the forklift. So let's take it outside and fix this. So here we have it, and it was pretty easy, but unfortunately the door drifted apart a little bit and this jumped out, but that's not a big problem. So we're gonna look at the bushings, and they seem to be really loose and full of junk, but I'm going to go ahead, put in the new bushings, and then this will hopefully be done really quick. So here's my idea to get the bushings in. Do not hammer in these. I have learned that the hard way, because these are so fragile or porous, or what you call it. So they you will smash this edge off, and since this is a part of the where this surface rides, so that won't be any good. So I'm gonna try if this works. So that was really easy. So I'm gonna do the bottom here, and then we can put this back together. We got all the bushings in, so let's try and get this in place again. So I already broke one of them, the collar. These are clearly made of too fragile material, but yeah, gonna power through. So I have the pins in place, and that's good and all, but the thing is, this pin is moving really easily. I can just tap it with my hammer and it will go down, and that will be a problem because it will probably fall out of its correct position and the door will sag again. So I have to figure out some way to lock this in place so that it won't fall down. So, and I mean, I could make a tack under here, but I don't want to do it since it will probably be me that will take in this apart again sometime. So I'm gonna figure out something so that this won't work its way down. So I got some washers there to make it so that it can't fall down. And so we're done, but unfortunately it's not any better. Maybe marginally, but yeah. And if I show you this and I move the door up and down, it's probably hard to see on camera, but it is the movement is in the between the bushing and the pin. So I mean, it's young stuff. It sucks. These bushings really do suck. They are not any good. So I have to order the Cunningham stuff in hopes that they are better. But yeah, why even bother making these if they're not going to work anyway? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I gotta put this rubber boot back on, and then we can figure out what we're gonna do next. So now I'm mad that this didn't work out. I mean, these bushings are just crap. So I removed the door again, and I'm gonna do a little trick here. I'm going to force this hinge a little bit forward, and I'm gonna force this one a little bit to the back so that we tilt up the door in hopes that it will be a little bit better, because now I'm already in it. I want to make an improvement, not make it worse. So we're gonna see if we can fix this. So now I really screwed myself over when I was hammering here. This bushing broke and this was already broken, so now I'm short on bushings. So yeah, I really put myself in a mess here. I'm contemplating right now if I should go the bolt route, which obviously isn't the best, but I'm not really sure what else to do right now. I would have to drill these holes, which isn't really easy to achieve. So yeah, I have to do some thinking here what I can do. I don't want to leave it. I want to drive the truck, and I don't want to wait a few weeks for the Cunningham style. So yeah, we'll have to see here. First off, I'm not proud of this repair, but we have a very sturdy bolt in there. It's a 10 and 9, if you don't know the metric system. 8.8 is your regular standard bolt, and 10.9 is a very, very heavy bolt. So hopefully that won't wear down, and it is in place with everything, and it works perfect. Absolutely perfect. So I gotta admit, it pushed it together a little bit here. Not that it hits, but doesn't look super good, but I'm really happy that I can open and close the door very easily. So yeah, so as I said, I'm not proud over it, but it works. How long will it work? I don't know, but I know that the next time this is giving me a problem, I know that I have to redo the whole door hinges. And I mean, this door is pretty bad. I might change the door. In that case, I get the new side on the door. Yeah, whatever, it works for now, and I'm happy with that, considering for like in half an hour ago when I was standing here with no bushings and the door was sagging worse than it did before. So yeah, I'm pretty happy anyway. But I'm a bit running out of time here because I have to go and pick up my kids and drive them over to their grandparents before I do the inspection. So I'm gonna go a few rounds around the truck and see if I can figure out anything that we need to do. So I will think here a bit, and then I will be back to you. So I've been walking around the truck thinking about what I could do more, and I really can't figure anything out. I mean, I can do a lot more, but not that would make us pass inspection any easier. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead, pick up the kids, and then we will head to the inspection. So I'll see you there. Okay, so I'm heading home from the inspection, and it didn't go as good as I hoped. It went about as bad as it could, but it was deserved, and it was a bit of a fun story because I arrived there, we checked a lot of stuff, checked the brakes and everything checks out, and then he puts it up on the lift, and he starts checking the wheel bearings and all the front suspension and stuff like that. And he was about to lower it when one of his colleagues, a woman, came up to him and said, shouldn't you check for rust on this? And he was like, no, this is they have fixed frames, there's no problem with this. And he started to lower it a little bit more, and she said that I think you should check the rust on this thing. So then they started looking, and after a while they were 3 persons standing with sharp hammers and hammering away on my poor truck. And yeah, they found even more than I knew. And I mean, I know that this frame is very, very thin. It's very, very rusty. It is. But I was hoping to not have to fix it, but we have to do it. And the interesting thing was that when she came over and they started to hammering on the car or the truck, she asked me, do you make YouTube videos? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she told me that her father was watching my videos. So yeah, unfortunately his daughter caused me a lot of headache here, but it is fair, it is very rusty, I knew it. I was hoping and I was going to get away with it, but unfortunately she came over and made the observation that we had some issues. So yeah, it is what it is. I was hoping to not have to do it, but if I didn't have to do it this year, I would probably have to do it next year. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, that will be all for this week with the truck. I will probably be back next week, and we have to do some welding on this, and I'm not sure because they said I have to fix the rockers, and it would be easier to buy rockers than to make them myself, and maybe we have to wait a week to get some parts. But yeah, anyway, we'll see if we'll be back next week working on this, or if it will be in 2 weeks. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and